Welcome to Boxing Predictions. Today we're going to be predicting the Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin super fight. In doing so, we're going to consider all the relevant history, experience, and any other factors, and then try and put that into context before making a prediction on the outcome of this fight. I'd like to invite you to do the same. So jump down to the comment section below and tell me who you're picking in this fight. Please consider hitting the subscribe channel, and if you enjoy the content in this video, please hit the thumbs up button. So this fight is taking place on the 22nd of September 2018 at Wembley Stadium. So we hope that it's going to be a dry night because of course there is no roof over Wembley Stadium. Whilst that won't really be a factor for the fighters because they will be covered, the fans will get absolutely drenched if it rains. So fingers crossed on that front. But anyway, this fight is for the WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO heavyweight world titles. So, there's a lot of belts on the line. So, in one corner, we've got Anthony Joshua, 5 years as a professional with a record of 21-0 with 20 stoppages. And this will be his third defense since becoming a world champion. And of course, he is the Olympic gold medalist from 2012. On the other side of the ring, we've got Alexander Povetkin, 13 years as a professional with a record of 31 wins, 1 defeat with 24 stoppages, and this is going to be his 7th world title fight, but it's his first world title fight since losing his strap in 2013. Of course, he is as well an Olympic gold medalist from 2004. So let's start talking about some of the factors revolving, in this fight that will have some element on where the fight will ultimately end up. So the first thing is the venue. It's taking place in Wembley Stadium. Fantastic stadium, predominantly used for football or soccer. Can hold about 90,000 spectators, so you get a lot of people in there. I've been in there for some of the boxing fights, and the atmosphere can be mixed, but once it comes to the headline, I would say the roof gets lifted, but there is none. It really, really heats up in there. But the factors really here is that this is the 4th appearance for Anthony Joshua at Wembley. It is his home, his home from home when he's not been fighting at the O2. Wembley has been there for the big super fights, okay? Whereas for Alexander Povetkin, this is only his 2nd fight in the UK. He's usually been fighting on home turf, whether that's, he had a big stint fighting in Germany before jumping across to his home nation of Russia and having, a number of fights, picking and choosing where those fights are taking place. So it was always in his favour. This time it's not, so he had that little experience in the UK in the last fight against David Price, but it wasn't at Wembley. It's going to be a little bit different for him. So there is that little spice there, but Alexander Povetkin's been in big fights, big stadiums. He should be fine. So when we talk about experience, it's clear Alexander Povetkin, he has such a significant, experience there. He's got 13 years as a professional. He's had 35 fights, 7 world title fights. So there's a lot of experience. He's fought a lot of different opponents. Whereas Anthony Joshua, he's managed to cram in 21 fights in 5 years as a professional. He had slightly less amateur experience despite getting to the pinnacle. But there is quite a sizable difference in experience, in my opinion. Whether that will be any factor, I don't think experience will hold any factors in this fight. And then kind of linking from that, there is the age difference. 11 years. Alexander Povetkin, 39 years today. So, there's a significant difference in age. Anthony Joshua, 28, you could say is in his prime. You could say Alexander Povetkin, 39. He's in those twilight years, okay? And we saw in the last fight that Alexander Povetkin had against David Price, it kind of summed up a lot of things that, you think about towards the end of your career. We saw that he actually got hurt himself, something that we haven't seen too often in his career, but we also saw him savagely knock out his opponent, and we know that power is the last thing to go with your heavyweight guys. So, now there's the size, okay? This is just the obvious, you got Alexander Povetkin, 6'2", somewhere around the 225 pounds, where Anthony Joshua, a lot bigger, 6'6", we'll say, maybe more, with 240 pounds plus, and a huge wingspan, huge wingspan. So there will be a difference, and a lot can be said about this, but we know both guys have fought, opponents, comparative size to who they will be fighting on the night. We know that Anthony Joshua, he's only really fought one or two guys that are about his size. He's predominantly been fighting shorter opponents. And we know with Alexander Povetkin, being 6'2", he's had to fight, a lot of these super heavyweights. And you know what? He has knocked out many of the taller opponents, because most of his actual decision wins have been against opponents of a similar size to him. So let's talk about the size. Alexander Povetkin, for me, outside of Tyson Fury, is probably the most skillful boxer in the division. Great movement, he's confident, he's got immense ring IQ, he's got good range of shots, knockout power, he's got a decent chin and decent stamina. So he ticks almost every single box. Anthony Joshua, we know he's got the size, he has got the devastating power, but he's got an ever-increasing, or at least improving, skill set. He's becoming fluid, he's becoming a little bit more agile. As he moves around that ring, he's getting more considered in what he's doing. He's thinking and appreciating the threat of his opponent a lot more. And this is making him a much more well-rounded fighter when he's putting together his own shots, his own combinations, and because, he's such a devastating knockout fighter, he's usually on the front foot, and he has to consider his own game. So where are they at the point of this career? Alexander Povetkin, you have to think he's in that twilight era. There's not much left, As we said, he was a champion back in 2013. Many defences. He's fought around the world. He's an Olympic champion. He's only ever lost to one fight, and that was against the great Wladimir Klitschko. There's no shame in that. But at 39 years of age, a defeat here could be the end of Alexander Povetkin. Could be. Whereas, with Anthony Joshua, he's improving. We've just spoke about that. Most people would say that he got that title shot shade too early, and therefore he's kind of been learning on the job. He's been improving fight by fight, and he's had to. He got off the canvas against Klitschko. He stopped an opponent who was a late change of opponent who was completely different to who he'd been preparing for, and then he dominated another champion over 12 rounds. So we're seeing, Anthony Joshua's getting new experiences. He's challenging those experiences, and he's overcoming them. He's coming through that at the end. He's still got the title, still got a smile on his face. He's still immensely confident. So let's talk about this actual fight for a moment and what I think about it. So in my opinion, I believe that this will be Anthony Joshua's most challenging opponent to date, because Alexander Povetkin, he will come to win. That's the difference with the vast majority of Anthony Joshua's opponents. Even the ones that were a decent opponent, you kind of knew that they didn't really have a chance. Someone like Carlos Takam, for me, that was only ever going to go one way. Only ever going to go one way. Okay, regardless of preparation, on both parts, it was always going to be an Anthony Joshua stoppage, okay? Alexander Povetkin is not coming to roll over. He will be coming to win. And as we said, he's got a history of being able to knock out taller opponents. So he has that style. He's been preparing, for years and years. He's had to fight against these guys, the overhand right, that kind of head movement, duck, move from side to side, getting close, and then hook in, with a big, devastating punch. We've seen it over and over and over and over again. Okay, and we know that with Klitschko, when he fought Klitschko, what happened there was that Klitschko hurt him early, and that's what changed the fight for me. If he hadn't have hurt him early, I think we might have seen a completely different fight. But he hurt him early, and he managed to repeat that exact same maneuver over and over again. Povetkin wasn't ready for it. He didn't learn from it, and he was hurt, and it was a problem. Okay, so for me, I anticipate a war, a battle, a tiresome fight, where the guy with, more that left in the tank will win. Whoever gets the more telling, more hurtful shots in, will have the opportunity to win this. And for me, I see this being a KO. I see this being a stoppage. And I actually see Anthony Joshua winning this. I see him coming through this very tough opponent and getting the victory. And I see him getting the stoppage in the middle to late rounds, 7th and 8th rounds. But of course, he would benefit from an early stoppage. But it's a risk. It wouldn't surprise me if he blows him out in a round. But I sense this is 7 or 8 rounds of an absolute war, a complete dust-up. Okay, because the reason why I say that is because Povetkin will be looking to get in close. As I said shortly before, he's confident, he'll get forward, he's got that great movement, in and out, left to right, he'll be able to get in close, variety of shots, okay? So the key to this is whether Anthony Joshua can keep it at a distance. And my answer to that is I don't think that Anthony Joshua can keep Alexander Povetkin at range. I think Povetkin will get in close, and I think he'll get in regularly. And it all depends on how spiteful, what he's got left in those punches, whether he can really hurt Joshua, So we'll have to see how that goes. But I see there's a dynamic there, right? So let's talk about the actual odds. It's no surprise. The odds are heavily weighted in favour of Anthony Joshua. 1-12 for Anthony Joshua to win, and Alexander Povetkin is 15-2. So there's a big swing. Big swing. So, Anthony Joshua to win by knockout is 2-5. It's almost not even worth putting anything on that. Going with a round. So if you go for the first round, that's 18-1. Good value there. And then what did I say? 7th and 8th round, they're both 10-1. That's where I see the value. So what happens next? What actually happens next? We're predicting after that analysis that we're going to see Anthony Joshua retain those titles, move forward. The heavyweight division is an evolving picture. We've got Tyson Fury kind of easing his way in, and there's this big talk of the Deontay Wilder fight happening at some point. I think that fight will happen. So for me, those guys are the people, they're out of the picture in terms of the next fight for Anthony Joshua. Tony Bellew, he's not going to fight heavyweight. He's not going to fight one of the big guys. So he's out of the picture. So for me, I see that the next fight for Anthony Joshua is going to be Dillian Whyte. The rematch, Dillian Whyte's been, he's wanted a title shot for so long, and he hasn't really deserved it up until now, in my opinion. He's been stepping up his level of opponent. His performances have improved. He's shown good heart, good skill, and now we're in a position where I think he deserves it. It's a bit like Jerome Miller. I mean, he's been talking up big game, and I don't think he hasn't done anything really to warrant a title shot. So for me, I think we're going to see that rematch, and I think it's going to be pushed as a huge, huge fight. And then obviously the winner of that possibly moves forward to, a summer fight against Fury Wilder, whoever is successful in that. So I hope that you have actually enjoyed this video. I want to know what your predictions are, so jump down to the comment section. Tell me whether you're going with Anthony Joshua, whether you're going with Alexander Povetkin. And remember, hit the thumbs up button and do subscribe to this channel, as we will be bringing more content as time moves forward.